It's 2019, and we can't go a week without talking about Jimmie Johnson. What happened to Jimmie Johnson? Well, here's a little theory that you might want to consider. Let's paint a picture here, all right? It's 2017. Jimmie Johnson's fresh off of championship win number 7. He wins 3 races in the first 12 of the season. He literally has a 25% win ratio. It's June, it's Pocono, he won Dover last week, he's running in the top 10, lap 95 at the end of the front stretch, goes to brake into turn 1, and the pedal hits the floor.
Trouble turn 1, Jimmie Johnson slams the outside retaining wall. May have had a brake or a tire failure going into turn 1. He cut down across the grass. Now another car, Jamie McMurray, is up into the wall. I'm going to say that was a brake failure on the Jimmie Johnson car. He came into turn 1 at the braking point. Right front tire exploded. He went down through the grass, head on into the wall. Debris all over the racetrack.
Now, Pocono isn't new to brake failure, and especially in turn 1 here. But what results is a heavy crash. Jimmie gets the wall, and he gets it good. At the time, he said he turned left, downshifted as quickly as he could, but he ended up slamming the wall with the right rear of the car at a huge speed and a really, really tight angle. After the wreck, he looked pretty shaken up. I mean, he got out of the car and he was sitting against the wall. He said in a press conference later that week that he blamed his own driving style for the incident. He said the lower downforce package contributed a little bit to it, but his driving was really aggressive and he simply used the brakes too much. Immediately after the incident, he said he felt okay over the radio, and in an interview later that day with USA Today, he said, "I just needed a second to sit down and catch my breath. But honestly, I have no sore spots or aches. I feel fine." Despite this, coming from winning a quarter of the races in the first part of that season, Jimmie Johnson has not won a race since. He has a career high 80 race win drought. After those 3 wins early on in 2017, he only scored 1 more top 5 that season. In fact, he's only scored 6 top 5s since that moment. And compare this to 11 top 5s in 2016, the season just prior. We're talking about a guy with 83 wins and 7 championships. A driver and a team who were unstoppable through most of the 2000s. His performance hasn't just fallen off, it's been dropped off a cliff. Along with that astounding 80 race winless streak, his highlights since that wreck have been binning the car and wrecking the leader at the Roval, and then wrecking the field to win a non-points race at Daytona. And if you still need proof that Johnson's performance has absolutely tanked, let's take a look at his Hendrick Motorsports teammates. In 2016, his championship season, the next best Hendrick cars in the points were Chase Elliott in 10th and Kasey Kahne in 17th. So far in the 2019 season, Jimmie is the last Hendrick driver in the point standings, with Chase Elliott in 8th and Bowman and Byron sitting in 11th and 12th. Jimmie is 17th. At this rate, he won't even make the playoffs. I understand skill falls off as drivers get old and young talent comes in, but I have never seen a driver go from the top to the bottom like Jimmie has. Let's take a look at Dale Jr. He's talked extensively about his struggle with concussions as a result of crashes in NASCAR, and he very often points to a crash during a Goodyear tire test in 2012 at Kansas as a defining moment in his career. That crash started a string of concussions and essentially led to the end of his career. Although we don't have any footage of the crash, he describes it pretty similarly to Jimmie's wreck.
And going off into turn 1, the sidewall of the tire just blew out. I was just remembering in my head thinking, this angle's bad, this speed's bad, and this is gonna be over in a second. And then I hit the wall, came to stop, and I got out, and I felt like I'd hit the wall at 180 mile an hour. I mean, it hurt.
So something failed on the car, and he hit the wall at speed at an acute angle. And that sounds like a pretty bad crash. I'm not saying Jimmie had a concussion, and I'm not saying this crash is the end of his career. But, I mean, let's take a look again.
We're watching the 48 Jimmie Johnson. That's right in the braking zone. See if, there.
You see the smoke, yeah. Actually, the right rear. It looked like fire in the right rear.
It did look like a failure in the right rear. He turns left, trying to get away from that wall. Heavy impact, the right side. That'll take the wind out of you.
That's a wicked hit.
Remember, we're talking 200 mile an hour down into that corner.
He went from fresh off a championship, 3 wins in 12 races, to absolutely nothing. He got 1 more top 5 in the rest of 2017. In 2018 and 2019 so far combined, he only has 5 top 5s. Less than half of what he got in the 2016 season, all while his teammates have gotten better and better, and they're now all outperforming him. So I've laid it out for you, but I'll let you decide. Did this crash end Jimmie's competitive career? Will we ever see him in victory lane again? Let me know in the comments section. I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching this new format, I guess, for drive-through. This was a topic we brought up in the most recent episode of my new podcast, the Outlap. Myself, along with a pretty long list of friends, discuss every week motorsport events and interesting things, and sometimes a little nugget of wisdom like this comes up, and I felt like I just had to convert it into its own video, because I don't think this has been talked about very much, and I want to sort of get this discussion going. So if you do want to listen to the Outlap, there's a little playlist link right here. Check it out. If you like this video, I feel like you're probably going to like that too. Lastly, I'm going to get back to regular content. Depending on how well this video does, you may or may not see more of this kind of stuff in the future. It's just a story that came up on the Outlap, and I really, really wanted to talk about it. But yeah, let me know what you think. Please, I'm always looking for more and more feedback. Thanks for watching.